We're at Swanzey Then and Now, and I'm Jody Turner, and we've got Lee Dunham here, historian for the town of Swanzey.
Trying.
We do our best. So anyway, today we're going to talk about fire departments in Swanzey, and we're going to go back to like the early 1800s.
Well, not the early, but probably, I know of late, so I don't know, I just don't know when they started, or the one, the oldest one.
So back then, they were using chemicals besides water, and there was all kinds of things that were burning down. They had fires all the time. I mean, like, this is just a part of your day, was pretty much having a fire at some of the mills, or, you know, sparks flying.
Well, if you go nationwide, the fire departments, first fire departments, I think, are Philadelphia. Ben Franklin, you might remember that guy. But, you know, bucket brigade, stuff like that. And fire insurance, first place is in Philadelphia again. So insurance companies got involved. In the old days, if you bought fire insurance, the insurance company had a fire department, and
they were going to ensure that you didn't have a problem.
And if you bought your insurance, they would put your fire out. If they came to your house and you didn't have your little sign on the door, he didn't put it out.
I guess you were burning down. Yeah.
But that, you know, I don't think you hear that so much up here, but, you know, our fire departments go back. West Swanzey is the oldest one. We have three, some people will say three fire departments. You know, it's more like three fire companies.
Because they weren't run by the town.
One fire department. But as they come to be on their own, not, you know, it wasn't the town selectmen saying, we need a fire department. It was the mill owners and the townspeople in this section of town saying, hey, we've got a lot of problems with fires and we need to do something. So they'd create a fire department. And then over time they would, and actually, you know, I started in 1978 and we'd gone past the pay thing a little bit when I joined, but not in forestry stuff. In forestry stuff, the town would get a bill for what we did and pay, you know, each fire department so much money for the forestry pay. But that's the way it was for everything before, is the fire departments would go to somebody's house and they'd put in so much time, and then there would be a bill, and you'd see that in the town report, you know, such and such a fire, you know, Swanzey Center, you know, $5.50, and, you know.
So it would be up to the homeowner or the town to pay the fire departments?
No, the town. Actually, the town would do it.
Yeah.
But what it would do, I don't know for sure, because I'm not that old, but.
Really?
Did people wait
Yeah.
until, you know, the town paid the bill after town meeting? I think they did, because in my first days of working, you get paid once a year, you know, and now we get paid once a month, so, yeah. And fire departments are exempt from sort of some of the labor laws that, you know, when you go to work for a job, it's a little bit different. They can't pay you once a year.
Yeah, that's right. So let's look at a few of the pictures. Going back to the Swanzey hand tub. Now, where would this building have been?
This
is that
just
East
off.
Swanzey?
No, this is West Swanzey.
West Swanzey, okay.
That building would have stood right next to, just off to the right-hand side would be the Thompson Covered Bridge. And that, you see, is only one door wide.
So is this where Gamarlos would have been?
Gamarlos that people remember would be on the other side.
On the other side, yes.
Gamarlos started on this side, across the street from this fire station.
Exactly. Very, very tiny building. Okay. And now this group is?
That's the West Swanzey Fire Company.
Yeah, the Champion Engine Company.
Yeah, which is funny because East Swanzey is a Champion Engine Company that we know. But they were called it first, I guess. This is 1895. So this picture is dated. We actually have names for almost all of these people, so we can identify them. And that's at the museum, that picture. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, just going back, it just popped into my head, the Swanzey Fire Department that was in East Swanzey, that was probably for the lanes and all of them, seriously, because that side had a lot of mills on the river.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's why the fire department was located where it is, because it was easy to get to.
Well, it starts down the road from that.
Oh,
I
did
think
it?
the next picture coming up will
Okay.
show you the first. There's the first station for East Swansea.
Aha.
That's attached to what is called Valley Hall. Mm-hmm. So if you're going through, where the fire station is now,
Right.
you go through a little sort of S-turn to go toward Troy.
Yeah. It's right
Valley
around the
Hall
corner
is
there.
right around the corner.
Yep. Huh.
So that's where they started out
Yeah.
in 1902.
Well, those buildings are not very large. I mean, when they had
No.
they must have had just their steamers or whatever. They didn't.
Yeah.
It's when you
These-
look at the buildings now that we house our trucks in.
They're small for the trucks
They're
we
very
have now.
well, that too, but still, these places are a lot smaller than the buildings that we have even now.
So East Swansea started off with a hand tub also,
Mm-hmm.
and the hand tub is nothing more than a pump
That you
that
crank
they
up and
pull.
Yeah.
They pull by hand
Mm-hmm.
to the fire. It's on wheels, but
Yeah.
and then it's got gigantic levers on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So one side down, like this. They're actually people doing the pumping,
Right.
the action to make it pump.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go in 1901 to the steamer, where now the steamer, of course, is a lot more weight. You don't carry it by hand. You had to have horses.
Right.
But did the fire department own the horses? No. Everybody had horses, doing their farm work at that point in time.
Right.
So they'd pay, I think it was $5 for the first team of horses to show up when the alarm sounded. So, and I think the second one got $2. So if you were runner-up, you still get money.
Right.
So you didn't feel sad.
Right.
At
At least you got
but,
something out of it. Yeah. You got to feed your horses. Okay. The next photograph is
Now-
is that the one that's out in Swansea Center?
That is the first building for the Swansea Chemical Fire Company.
Right. But is
Wasn't-
that in Swansea Center?
Yes, it is.
And that's in that little neighborhood.
Well, that's right between, behind there, you see those pine trees?
Right.
Those are the pine trees that are behind the town hall.
Right. Yeah.
And that's, the school would be behind you. So it was in between
Okay.
the town hall and the library.
Then I think this building, though, was moved.
This building, actually, I don't know what happened to it, but
I'm pretty sure.
it was done away with back in the 40s.
Okay. Because my husband grew up in that neighborhood. I can't remember what the roads are.
Yeah, but he does. That's
Th-
not
there
the,
is- that's not the garage?
That's the next one.
Okay.
We'll show you a picture of that.
All right. Okay. All right.
This one, I don't know what happens to it, but they started in 1909.
Mm-hmm.
So West Swansea is their first, which is 18 something. East Swansea 1902, and then in 1909, the Village Society of Swansea Center decided they needed a fire department, so they got together and formed the Swansea Chemical Fire Company in 1909.
And what does chemical fire department mean?
Well, they had, instead of the hand tub, the first thing that they had was a probably 30-gallon or so, maybe more, but fire extinguisher. Now remember the old, I don't know if you remember them, I do, but the first fire extinguishers, you tipped upside down and then they squirt water.
Yep.
Well, they did that because you had a little vial of acid in the top of it. And so when you tipped it over, the water
Oh, that
mixed
made
with
the
the
pressure.
acid and gave you pressure, and it blew all the water out. Now, when it was over, you had nothing until you filled it back up with water, put another charge of acid to it, and then turn it over again.
Right. How long did those last?
I
mean, you couldn't really put out a fire with those, really,
well,
did you?
a small one.
Yeah.
It didn't work on the town hall in
Right.
1913.
Right. Just want to let you know.
So, and it didn't work on the central house across the street either. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think once the fires started back then, it was just controlling them so that they didn't get out of control. But
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but, and just, I wanted to give people just a little, I mean, I've been on the fire department for 41 years now. My father was 50 years on. my grandfather was 50 years on. So I've always lived in a house that had a monitor, if you will, or a fire radio, always. But they didn't always have radios, right?
Right.
What did they do before? Well, Swanzey Center, when they started in 1909, the first alarm that they had was a church bell. Mm-hmm. And they'd have different codes for where the fire was. You had to listen to the bell, sort of like Keene. If you remember, Keene had the whistle.
I do.
And
I
we could hear
that.
it.
Boxes.
Yeah, we could hear it in Swansea.
Right. Yeah.
But what we always had to remember for Keene was 21. Mm-hmm. If they
what was
21 was mutual aid.
Ah.
That's the one that would bring us to Keene usually.
Mm-hmm.
But there were, Mason Insurance gave out a calendar that
I remember.
You could find
had all the codes on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but that's what Swansea Center did. Mm-hmm. Now I don't really know what West Swansea did or what East did, but they had to have something.
I'm sure it was bells.
And then we graduate from that to, they had what they called the red phone. Now, certain members of the department had a red phone, sort of like the president,
I know,
yeah. And they would get a call to tell them there was a fire and where it was. And they'd go to the fire station. In the 30s, we had a siren. So, if it was after that, then they'd sound the siren. Mm-hmm. Now, you'd come down to the fire station, you wouldn't know where you're going, so hopefully somebody did know where they were going.
Right.
But in the 50s, we get to fire mutual aid in Keene, radio dispatch, and now we all have radios. Mm-hmm. But they're in the house. So if you're not at home, you don't know it. Well, in the 70s, 80s, late 70s, early 80s, we all came up. This is like 6th version of this or 7th version since I've been on. And that's just, you keep it on your belt, take it with you everywhere. And now, it used to be, it was just a radio, so anybody on it, you heard everybody's call. Now they're all tone alert, so they put a tone out, and if you, well, let's see if I can get it to do something besides vibrate. I like vibrate.
Swanzey only.
Yeah. It
Swanzey
starts.
only.
That's the start of it. It beeps at you, and that's not enough to tell you something. But then the radio comes on that
gives you
goes
details.
to you.
Yeah.
So that's how it's done today. Mm-hmm. But it's also done with cell phones. Mm-hmm. We all get a buzz on our cell phones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's much easier now.
It's a lot different.
All right, we got a lot of photographs to go through.
Now we're going to say.
Okay, here we go. Here's the marathon. Okay, so this looks like winter?
This is winter. This is on Spring Street or off of Spring Street, putting into the river to draft water. Oh. This is 1941, actually. I can tell you when this is and where it is because this is when the barracks, one of the barracks at the CCC camp burned.
Yep.
So
that's
West 1957.
Yeah. It's 1950s, yeah.
Yeah, 1957.
Yeah.
The truck behind there is, I think, a 57 International, so it's fairly brand new.
Yeah.
They're actually showing, I think, Scott packs in the front, too.
What is that?
So those are the air tanks that firefighters wear. That's how old those are.
Wow.
Did we use them so much back then? Nah, maybe not.
Yeah.
This
okay, that goes back a little bit further.
Yeah, that's the old station. You see it's 2 doors wide.
Yep.
Now you have a steamer on one side, and you have a hose wagon, I think it was at that point.
Yeah.
Or it might have if they went motorized.
And then, let's see.
This is West Swansea. This is on Spring Street, where they took several of these pictures.
Yeah.
I think this is late 30s, because there's a 1938 truck off to the right. So the steamer is in this picture too, but it's cut out of this.
I think the next picture has the steamer as well.
Well, that's in
That's
front
another.
of the,
That's even older though. Again.
Yeah. The 38 truck is not there anymore.
Right.
So now we're probably in the 20s.
Right.
That steamer was 1901.
Is that the steamer that we have at the museum?
That's the steamer we have at the museum.
Wow. So you'll have to go and visit the museum.
Yes, and it actually, is in working condition.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to use it anymore.
Right.
This
Okay,
is
so
in-
this is 1920s, 1930s. This
Yeah.
was the fire department.
This is I've
There's
only
Thompson
seen a
Bridge in the
couple
back.
of these ones where they're in white pants. And
Uh-huh.
doesn't seem
Logical.
Yeah, it doesn't seem logical.
Yeah.
I
At least
looked
you
at
could
it-
bleach them, I guess.
I think navy when I see that.
Yeah.
Now this is that picture that has the steamer off on it.
Yeah.
Now the steamer at this point is probably not in service,
Uh-huh.
but they kept it, and it was still brought out in 4th of July. And
For
they-
parades and
Well, for parades, but it
Oh,
also brought
musters?
out. They would actually they'd get it working, and they'd spray water up over the church steeple in West Swansea.
why?
Well, they did it, and they'd try to do it and prove that they could do it better than the motorized stuff. So
Oh,
that's what.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then in West Swansea we have an old station. The next picture.
Yeah, that right there. That's the old station.
Now, is that the
notice
mill?
there's-
Is that where the fire station is now?
No,
No?
The only thing that is left of this, you can find that apron if you look next to the bridge as you go across it.
Oh, so it's closer to the bridge.
It's
I see.
very close to
Yeah,
the bridge.
yeah.
And you see the windows are out of that. So that's probably around the late 40s, early 50s
Yeah.
when the new station has been built.
Uh-huh.
And this is going to be torn down.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay, now
that
there's the
picture
steamer.
right here is the steamer. You see the church in the background. This is probably one of those times when they set it up for everybody to see. The three men are Harry Worcester on the left, Raymond Bartlett in the center, and Chet Seaver on the right-hand side. Those are guys that knew how to run that steamer.
Is there anybody that knows how to run the steamer now?
The last time I saw it run, it was Cliff Hills, and there's one person I know that knew how to do a steam engine. Was
Is he still
Clifton
around?
Hills. Oh no. They wrote it all down as to
Right.
what to do, but boy, I tell you, if you make a mistake, it's not a good mistake.
Yeah. You can blow things up a little?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So more pictures. Oh, no, I
There,
think
now.
that's the garage I was talking about.
That
Yes.
is the garage.
Yes.
That, I think, is around 1942 that's built. That is, well, maybe before 1942. It's a 1940 Chevrolet on the right. And I don't know what year it is, but it's a Stewart on the left, fire truck. That Stewart in 1965 was relegated to outside with a tarp over it. And why do I know that? Well, in 65, maybe 64, I was in kindergarten and we came down to the fire station and they'd let us push the button to get the siren on that truck.
Oh, yeah. Did they give rides?
They didn't give rides.
No. Because in
but,
Keene,
you
we
know,
used to have a fire truck that would give rides.
But the muster truck in West Swansea for the PTA fair would always do rides.
Do they still have that?
No, that's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We've got a lot more photographs. Let's see. We've got 10 minutes left. Okay.
Now, that's that chemical. That's
Oh,
not,
yeah, that's
That's
huge.
not the one.
No, but that's pretty big.
But that's roughly what it is.
So were the wheels to get it to someplace, or were the
Yep.
wheels to give it the power?
The wheels just to get it
And
from
did they
point
have
A
to flip
point
that
B.
over to get
And
the
then you
thing to
flip-
go?
you
Yeah.
flipped it over.
Yeah.
And what they said is they had they would attach extra chemical to the sides of the wheels, so that when they brought it someplace,
It would zoom.
they could, go through it. They'd have to fill it up with water somehow, and then put more chemical to it, turn it back over,
Yeah.
and use it again.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, there's a steamer again.
That is in 1969 what the steamer looked like.
Yeah.
But
it's beautiful now.
Hadn't been touched.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about that is when its service was over, they didn't sell it.
Right.
They gave it to the West Swansea Fire Company, and they hold it away in barns for years.
Yeah.
Till
So
the
we're lucky to
80
have that at the museum.
1983.
Yep. Okay. More modern. I see you in this one a lot, I think.
Well, I used to drive this. I was one of the last one that drove it. Actually, I
Do you
was
still
the
have
last
this one?
No.
No. Oh. But do you have one that looks a lot like this?
We have one that looks like it's a modern day version of it.
Okay. Because I think
That
these are
definitely
all
is-
just different versions of that.
Actually, I think the new one is
In the
next
back?
door on the back of that. If you look at that truck right there, that's in England. A guy bought it in England and shipped it over there.
Wow.
And so it still looks like that. If you go to England, go to a truck show, you may see a Swanzey Center
Wow,
fire
wouldn't that be
truck.
interesting? Yeah.
That,
Okay. So we've had the fire department underneath the town hall for a long time.
1967.
Yeah.
That's
1967.
when that station, which would be about where those guys are walking down the hill, was.
Yeah.
Now that got moved over to the area over. I'll get it wrong now. I'm having one of those senior moments. Talbot Hill area.
Oh, okay.
And this is 1983. This is a bunch of the crowd that worked on the steamer to get it to what it is today. That's the picture they took on Parade Day.
Nice. When was Parade Day? Is that during Old Homestead?
It was Old Home Day.
Or Old Home Day?
Old
Yeah.
Home Day, 1983.
Yeah.
It was 250th.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we have?
That's
Okay, that's a better
That's your
picture.
station you see today.
Right, right. And that does look tight.
And that's East Swanzey.
East Swanzey, right.
With an addition on the right side.
Yep. And
Now we're going to go through a bunch of the equipment that's sitting around.
right.
We had two of these. We have one now. That's a rescue truck.
Oh, there's Norm. Is that Norm Insurance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fire was here, but you guys are right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah. And it looks like the Cheshire
That's at
Fair.
the fairgrounds.
Yeah. And is that like egg drop or something, or what would they be doing there? Do you know? No. But that's one of the ladder trucks.
That is like 1981. That is a Dalecraft fire, which.
Where was that?
You know where Keene Tree was? Behind the VFW in West Swansea. This was the old New England box
Oh, yeah.
factory.
Yes. Yeah.
That burned. It was a Saturday. I was working in Keene. I came down looking at the smoke all the way.
Wow. Okay, so we've got a few more trucks. Let's see. This looks like a parade here.
Yeah, that's probably Old Home Day. There's some in current gear right
Yeah.
there.
So your gear is black?
The gear we have
Does it
now
make it
is
hard
black.
to see?
Well,
I mean, you've got the reflective things on
it's
it.
got the reflective stuff on it.
Yeah.
But black is traditional,
Oh.
and tradition
And it
is
gets-
big in the
soot
fire
doesn't
department.
show on black.
But it also, it doesn't show the
Yeah,
dirt. It's,
yeah.
It's bad.
All right, and
But
we've got
that's a whole.
yeah, got another group of. Looks like they're training or something.
That looks like somebody's watching something going on, so they're training.
Yeah. And now we've got a whole group of fire trucks.
Yeah, that's our brush truck. That came from Meadowood before. That's our old hose reel truck.
And what is a hose reel truck? Is that additional hose?
Yeah, that carried about a little over 3,000 feet of hose,
Mm-hmm.
probably almost 4,000 feet of hose. 4-inch hose, it was supply line hose.
Mm-hmm.
That was big in the 70s, not so much anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
These are all trucks that have gone by.
Yeah.
That particular truck came from Gunkwit, Maine.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
We bought it from them.
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally in the fire department, in both, they buy stuff and they make fire trucks out of it. I mean, we bought an old Army truck one time and made a tanker out of it. We had an old M37 military vehicle that the state surplus came down, and that was one of our brush trucks for the longest time.
Yeah. So ladder truck?
Yeah.
Where does this get kept? Is that East Swansea?
That's over in West Swansea.
West Swansea? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I can see there now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's not the one we have today, but it's.
And is that it? That might be it. Okay.
That might be it.
That is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
There's a West Swansea station as you see today.
Right, right.
Well,
So-
it's a little bit better than that. They've redone the face.
Yes, yes. So what would you like to see happen with the fire department? Anything different that is like in the works? Are they going to build one off Route 32? Is it up in the air still?
Yeah, it's up in the air still. They're doing the studies this year. We know that all our stations are substandard for what they should be.
Right.
And they all affect how we purchase vehicles because of the size of the
Right.
buildings. It makes it difficult to buy a new engine because things are, you have to buy it for the size opening you
Right.
have. When we bought the tanker, we actually had to cut and get every inch out of the doorway, put a new door on. So it's really difficult with the buildings that we have. So they're will be trying to come up with a plan for a new station that will allow that kind of equipment to be bought a little bit easier, a little bit nicer. At this point, I don't know what's going to be.
Yeah, it's a big investment, but the way I look at it is, if you don't do it now, it's going to be more expensive if we
Yeah.
wait. I mean, it's hard because with the budget, the town budget, you have to juggle everything and balance everything out. But, really, if we wait too much longer, it will get more expensive. And so we do have to make some decisions on what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah. It needs to be a good building.
Right.
I mean, because whatever we put up, we're going to be stuck with it for a
Right.
long
Well,
time.
look at how old some of these other buildings are that we've seen in the photographs today.
Yeah.
And they're still standing.
Yeah.
So
West Swansea was built in 1950.
Right,
So.
right. So, yeah, we have to really think about that. So, we've got buildings in Swansea. We've got land. I'm seeing a lot of land being built on right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now in Swansea, but it is what it is. So, anyway, Swanzey Then and Now. We look at things from where it used to be and where it's come. And we hope that you'll come back and visit us again at more of our Swanzey Then and Nows. Thank you, Lee. Who are you again?